Hello, everyone. Thank you for choosing Stimulus Check Updates. If you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and watch to the end of the video to stay up to date on your stimulus checks. Now let's get into the news. So, lately, in an effort to get a stimulus package passed before the election, Democrats revealed on Monday a slimmed-down version of the HEROES Act, with a slimmed-down price tag to match. The original stimulus bill, which passed in the House in May as a follow-up to the CARES Act, was slated to cost over $3 trillion. However, it never made it to the Senate floor. Republicans balked at the price, with some calling it dead on arrival. This was one of several inter-party squabbles between Democrats and Republicans about how to fund the ailing COVID-19 economy, the latest being Republicans' failed attempt to gain enough procedural votes for the so-called skinny stimulus bill earlier in September. With time running out before the election and several distractions for Congress to field, including the first presidential debate and the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to fill the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg's vacant Supreme Court seat, it seemed unlikely that there would be any progress made on stimulus. Until now. What does the pared-down HEROES Act include? The revised HEROES Act was able to cut its price tag by shortening the timeline of many of the benefits, rather than reducing benefits altogether. Several of the revised HEROES Act provisions will seem familiar to many Americans. That's because they pick up where the CARES Act left off, reviving many of the provisions of that law that expired months ago. The big ones are, another round of $1,200 stimulus checks for qualifying Americans, $1,200 per qualifying individual, $2,400 for qualifying joint returns and $500 per dependent, $436 million for state and local government aid, a Paycheck Protection Program extension for small businesses, temporary federal funding for $600 a week, extended unemployment benefits, $75 billion for coronavirus testing assistance for essential and emergency workers, including paid sick time, $25 billion in aid for airlines. Many may be worried about the possibility of Congress uniting to pass a second stimulus bill, given that previous attempts have ended in deadlock. However, both Democrats and Republicans have signaled a willingness to compromise. President Trump has implored his party to spend more money on stimulus, and the newly slimmed-down HEROES bill may be more palatable for spendthrift Republicans, especially those at risk in the November election. In a letter to Democrats on Monday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said, "Democrats are making good on our promise to compromise with this updated bill, which is necessary to address the immediate health and economic crisis facing America's working families right now." Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin wasn't enthusiastic about the $2.2 trillion price tag, according to reports from a Monday night call with Pelosi, but said that he is open to negotiations. Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats unveiled a revised coronavirus stimulus package proposal earlier today. The relief package is an updated version of the $3.4 trillion HEROES Act that House Democrats passed in May and comes in at $2.2 trillion in cost. This bill provides the absolutely needed resources to protect lives, livelihoods, and the life of our democracy over the coming months, said Pelosi in a letter to her Democratic colleague. Once again, here is what is in the new stimulus plan. House Democrats released the text of the updated HEROES Act as well as a one-page summary. Here is what the new proposal includes: $1,200 second stimulus check. The proposal calls for another round of direct payments to Americans, $1,200 for qualifying taxpayers and $500 per dependent, $600 extra federal unemployment benefit. The updated HEROES Act would resort the $600 federal unemployment booster that expired at the end of July. It would continue the extra federal payments until the end of January 2021. This would provide a vital safety net for the record number of Americans who are unemployed, including those connected to the gig economy, noted the one-pager released by House Democrats. State and city aid. The biggest budget item included in the updated package is $436 billion in aid to states and cities to help alleviate budget shortfalls caused by COVID-19. The amount is a dramatic reduction from the over $900 billion that Democrats had included in the original HEROES Act. Support for small business. The new proposal would include support for small businesses by extending the Paycheck Protection Program. Funding for airline industry workers. Additional funding would be provided to keep airline industry workers paid. The Payroll Support Program, which had provided funding for the airline industry, was set to expire on September 30. Education and child care. The updated HEROES Act includes $225 billion for education as well as $57 billion that would go to support child care for families. In addition, the proposal would include funding for election security, the U.S. Postal Service, worker safety, food security, and coronavirus testing, tracing, and treatment. Negotiations over another coronavirus stimulus package have been at a standstill. The new Democratic proposal comes as Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin resumed talks in hopes of reaching an agreement before the November election. The two spoke Monday evening and also agreed to speak again Tuesday morning, according to Drew Hamill, a spokesman for Pelosi. Mnuchin has indicated that his priorities for the next bill included additional aid for small businesses as well as additional assistance to the airline industry, both of which are included in Pelosi's updated proposal. The sticking points to an agreement are in many ways the same as before: what level of federal unemployment aid to offer the millions of unemployed individuals and how much aid to offer states and cities. While the updated Democratic bill maintains the $600 weekly federal unemployment offer as the original HEROES Act, this may simply be a negotiating stance. While the economy is still struggling, there has been improvement over the past few months, with unemployment dropping to 8.4%. At that unemployment rate, the case for compromising on the $600 per week unemployment insurance is much stronger, said Jason Furman, former chair of Obama's Council of Economic Advisers and currently a professor with Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, in an interview. That might have made sense when the unemployment rate was 15%. Coming down to something like President Trump's number of $400 a week. I'd like to see Democrats say, at 8.4% unemployment, we can do that, he continued. State and local aid has remained a source of disagreement, with Trump and Republicans opposing additional funding. However, with Democrats coming down more than half from their initial $900 billion demand, one would hope that a compromise could be reached. Democrats are making good on our promise to compromise with this updated bill, which is necessary to address the immediate health and economic crisis facing America's working families right now, Pelosi wrote in her letter to House Democrats. We have been able to make critical additions and reduce the cost of the bill by shortening the time covered for now. As she begins an additional round of discussions with Mnuchin, hopefully both of them keep in mind the millions of Americans who are still struggling and need a renewed financial stimulus. And that is all the news I have for you today, everyone. Thank you for watching Stimulus Check Updates today. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I will be seeing you next time.